In fourth grade, one skill that we work on is how to use a map scale. I'm not going to get into the details of how we measure. I'm more or less going to go into how we find certain miles based on what we measure in inches. Now, some scales have centimeters, some have inches. For this example, I'm going to show inches. My scale here, 1 inch equals 200 miles. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can solve this. I'm going to do the most basic way that we can, and I'll give examples of what we could measure at and how we could find the miles for that inches. Now, a simple example could be 2 inches is how many miles? Real basic example, if I know 1 inch is 200 miles, I need to do 2 inches. So to model that, I've got 200 miles, which represents 1 inch, plus another 200 miles, which now represents 2 inches. 200 plus 200 is 400 miles. A common thing that you may see is you may measure such as 4.5 inches. Again, for these ones, we know that 1 inch is 200 miles. So I need 4 200s put together. Now there are some shortcuts you can figure out, such as 2 inches is 400 and can combine those, but I'm going to spread it out to show you that each inch represents 200 miles. Now we also have this half of an inch. If we know that 1 inch is 200 miles, how do we find half of 200? Now this one's pretty simple. We most commonly know that half of 200 is 100, so we can throw that on the end. Now we have 4 inches represented here and a half of an inch represented here. When we add those all together, we get 900 miles. Again, we'll deal with whole and half inches on our map scales.